I want to take you back to your childhood for just one moment here. I need you to remember back to when you got an Airhead. You know, those little treats that had different colors, and each one, the blue ones were really good, but some of the other flavors just hit different. Every once in a while, you'd get the white one, which is a little more of a mixed bag, a mystery pack sometimes, if you will. And you never truly knew exactly what you were going to get. I believe at some point they eventually changed it to where it was like a different flavor, like one solid, like white flavor instead. But I remember the mystery flavors were always so interesting to me, as you didn't always know what you were going to get. And to me, that's exactly how I felt about the game we're talking about today, Airhead. Being made by the developers Octato and Massive Mini Team, this was published by Handy Games. And it came back all the way on February 12th, 2024, and it launched for $20 US. And if you're unfamiliar with what this game is, Airhead is a platform puzzler that is presented in an interesting way. The basic concept is you are to help a small body save a head-like organism full of air from a leak that threatens its life. Now, I say that, and what do I mean? Basically, you're a body, and you have this head that helps you move through these environments, but the head is going to very quickly die if you don't refill it with air every so often. And these air points are also your save points, so you don't have to worry about getting somewhere than getting soft locked. Now, there is a lot about this game that I enjoyed. First off, I played it on the Steam Deck for the most part, so while my footage of this game is the early first couple areas, know that I played the rest of the game on my Steam Deck and I had next to no issues. I had one or two instances where I started getting around some of the water environments and it felt like the game was chugging, even if it was just for a few seconds, but otherwise, no big deal. But what I mean by you don't exactly know what you're getting with Airhead is, first off, visually speaking, it sets itself up very stylistically, very bright, abstract colors like the gray caves, the green backgrounds, or even the sunset backgrounds later on are so beautiful and strong at times. However, it's never the visuals that slowed me down, and I can talk more about those in just a moment, but ultimately I have no complaints with that, realistically speaking. My issue comes from the fact that as you go on, you move from puzzle to puzzle, the game doesn't really decide what kind of, genre it wants to be. On one hand, you've got a platforming game, and at some points, the platforming feels very, very strict, almost so much so that it's a precision platformer, meaning that you have to hit things in just the right way to grab that ledge or move things just perfectly in order to get to where you need to go. And when you look at the fact that this is a puzzle platformer, that doesn't gel as well as it should. What I mean by that is there's certain instances where, let's say, a puzzle requires you to move a block to a certain point, but if you're off by even just a little bit and you are timed because of your Airhead, then it will basically show as though, hey, this is the wrong thing to do. And in essence, deterring the player away from trying that again because it seems so wrong that it doesn't give the feedback like, hey, you're on the right track, you just didn't get it in time. It gives the vibe that you're doing the wrong thing, if that makes sense. So in that way, I feel like a lot of the puzzles were deterrent of the actual nature of the genre that it falls into. When the game works, it works really well. There's puzzles that are really smart. As you play throughout the game, you get certain upgrades, the ability to hold more air, more abilities like dashing through the air, swimming through the water at an efficient speed, different things like that. And you're even introduced into different types of air. For instance, there's a higher density air that allows you to sink, which also takes you to the bottom of the water, which is super convenient. But then you also have really low density air, which allows you to float even higher into the sky, reaching faraway places, that it just works so well. And the rollout of these upgrades and these new abilities and these new gameplay experiences is done at a shockingly great pace. And it's in that way that the gameplay design was very well understood. Like I said, I just feel like there's a precision to a lot of these puzzles, and also just straight up the platforming that disappoints me in a way that I can't really understand. The game clashes with itself in a lot of unique ways that I wish it didn't, because this would be an easy recommend for an atmospheric puzzler. Almost like, I don't want to say Inside, I would rather say Limbo, personally. Maybe that's visually speaking, but I just really feel like this could have been in that echelon in a certain sense, especially with the really neat little parasitic relationship you have with the two characters that you're playing as, that I wish it could just be a little bit stronger, but unfortunately to me it wasn't. That being said, I want to walk away from the fact that the puzzles of this game are generally really good. The sense of scale for this game is great. Actually, the wind blowing and the flags and the stuff in the background, it all works really well. This game also does a thing that I really like where you're able to mesh the foreground and the background in a really cool way. You can move on separate tracks to go different ways and, kind of hop in like closer to and further from the camera to go onto different like side-scrolling tracks. It's really, really cool in that way. Though I will say sometimes when you're on the clock, you're running out of air and you need to get somewhere quickly, sometimes that can be a little frustrating finding that sweet spot too. I did have 2 bugs while playing this game, one of which was super simple. I got stuck in the ground, but you're able to reload your save or your air really quickly, so with the touch of a button, that's no problem. But the other one that did bother me a little bit more was when you drown in the water and then you restart from your last save point, sometimes the sound is muffled as though you're still underwater that whole time, which clearly you aren't. And for that one, I did actually have to go back to the menu to fix that one, so that one was a little bit more of a nuisance. Overall though, I have to end with this. I like this game, I really do. I just wish it was better. At the end of the day though, there's not really much I can say as far as if I think you should play this game or if I shouldn't. If this game sounds interesting to you, I think there's definitely something here. That relationship between the head and the body is really cool to see. And while there's really not that much of a story going on here, it is cool moving through this world and seeing these different environments and even these different puzzles. However, it's the frustration that comes in between those really great bits that does get in the way. And I mean majorly. So with that being said, at a base price of $20, I can't say I fully recommend this game. I would probably wait for a sale. However much you're interested in this game is up to you. But, waiting for a sale I feel like would be a safe bet for this game. Maybe wait for a Steam summer sale or something like that. And I think that's the appropriate price to pay for this game. I do think it's a game worth playing. I just think you should wait. Thank you so much for watching this video. My name is fallinghurts. If the developer happens to see this video, I like your game. I just wish I could have loved it. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.